Jerry was a boy who really enjoyed listening to stories about knights. He was amazed at how brave, strong, and smart knights used to be. He asked his dad what Jerry should do to become a knight one day. Jerry's dad started telling him a story about King Arthur and his knights. There used to be a king named Arthur who was the greatest king of all times. His people loved him, and his knights served him with all their hearts. Knights were brave, strong and smart men who helped the poor in need and protected the kingdom from bad people. They were always ready to help King Arthur. Jerry was very excited to hear this story, so he asked his dad to tell it again. Jerry's dad went on telling that King Arthur was very famous because he was such a kind and brave man, but also because of his great knights. He had many great men serving him, Jerry's dad said proudly. Some of them were King Arthur's friends since they were kids. Then what happened? Jerry asked curiously. Tell me. He begged his dad. One day, King Arthur told Sir Lancelot that he wanted to pick the bravest knight around, said Jerry's father. Sir Lancelot said that the bravest one is Sir Gawain, who is a strong man even though he looks very small. Continue. Jerry begged again, so his dad continued by saying, King Arthur had an idea. He told Sir Gawain that he should go find 3 other strongest men around in order to prove that Sir Gawain is the strongest man in the country. Jerry wondered who these 3 strong men were, then asked, who are they? Well, Sir Gawain picked Sir Hector, Sir Bors, and Sir Gareth to prove that he is the strongest man in the kingdom. Jerry's dad answered. They all started their way up to a very hard mountain where they knew that there were dragons. They decided to go up there and kill all the dragons they would find. It took them 3 days to get up there, and they faced many dangers on their way, giant snakes, big spiders, deadly birds, and other creatures. When they finally had arrived at the top of the mountain, they saw 3 dragons sleeping peacefully. Jerry's father continued his story. Sir Gawain was scared because he knew that together these 3 dragons could kill him easily. But Sir Gawain was brave, so he took his best sword and tried to kill one of them in one blow, Jerry's dad said proudly. The sword couldn't even break off any of the dragon's scales. So Sir Gawain ran after the second dragon who didn't even move. When he saw him coming towards it. Jerry was listening very carefully now. His dad went on informing him about this story. Then Sir Gawain thought, I need something sharp, so he went after that second dragon again, but this time with a knife in his hand. Jerry was excited now and asked, did Sir Gawain manage to kill one of these dragons? Jerry's father kept telling this story by saying, Sir Gawain ran toward that second dragon again with his knife, but this time he managed to stab it between its eyes. He killed it. Jerry shouted happily, wow. Then asked, did Sir Gawain manage to kill all 3 dragons? Jerry's father smiled at him and said, it wasn't easy for him. The 3rd dragon started chasing after him while breathing fire out of its mouth. No way, Jerry was surprised. But then, remembering what happened next, he asked, what happened next? Did Sir Gawain manage to escape from it? Jerry's dad smiled again then said, yes, Sir Gawain did run away as fast as possible, but when he looked back, he saw that only the last dragon remained. And continued by saying he felt sorry for those poor dragons. So, instead of running away from the last dragon again, Sir Gawain turned around and killed it too. Jerry was amazed by this story and asked his dad, did Sir Gawain kill all 3 dragons? Jerry's father said, yes, he did. And he proved to everyone that he is the bravest man around. Jerry was very happy to hear that. Then he asked, what happened next? Jerry's father said, Well, Merlin the wizard heard about Sir Gawain's bravery and decided to help him become a real knight. So Merlin went to King Arthur and told him that Sir Gawain should be knighted because he is the bravest man around. King Arthur agreed with Merlin, so they held a ceremony for Sir Gawain where King Arthur made him a knight. Jerry's father explained. Jerry was very excited about what happened next, so he begged his dad to tell him more what happened after that. Well, after becoming a knight, Sir Gawain met Guinevere, who was a princess in Camelot. Jerry's father explained. They fell in love with each other. Really? Jerry shouted happily. What happened next then? Well, King Arthur found out about their love but didn't want them to marry each other, Jerry's dad told him. King Arthur told Guinevere that it was against the laws of Camelot for her to marry someone like Sir Gawain because she was a princess and should marry somebody who is much more powerful than him. That's not fair. Jerry shouted. But what did Guinevere say then? Did she agree with King Arthur or did she tell him that she loves Sir Gawain? What did she do? He asked excitedly while looking at his dad. Jerry's father smiled again and said Guinevere didn't want to disobey her king, so she refused marrying Sir Gawain. But when Lancelot, Bors, Hector and Gareth heard what happened, they were very angry with King Arthur, so they decided to leave Camelot forever. Jerry's father explained. Jerry was sad to hear that his favorite knights had left Camelot. So he asked, did Sir Gawain stayed with King Arthur? Yes, Sir Gawain stayed in Camelot because he didn't want to disobey King Arthur, Jerry's dad said. But soon after that, King Arthur decided to go on a trip and took Guinevere with him. That's not fair. Jerry shouted. Did Sir Gawain stay in Camelot after King Arthur left? What did he do? Did he try to convince Guinevere again to marry him? He asked excitedly. Sir Gawain tried asking Guinevere again, but she refused marrying him. Jerry's father said. But one night, when Sir Gawain saw her crying and missing her family, he decided to take her away from Camelot, and they got married. Wow! That is so cool! Jerry shouted happily. Did he ever return to Camelot then? Jerry's dad shook his head and said, no, Sir Gawain never returned because Merlin the wizard told him that it would be dangerous. If King Arthur finds out about the marriage, he will for sure kill Sir Gawain. So Guinevere returned to Camelot by herself. Jerry didn't like what Merlin told Sir Gawain, so he asked, does this mean that Sir Gawain will never come back again? How could Guinevere live without him? Who would protect her from King Arthur then? Jerry's dad smiled at him and said, I don't know, but I'm sure that Lancelot, Bors, Hector and Gareth will go back for her when the time comes. They are very brave men who wouldn't let anyone hurt their friends. Then he continued by saying, I bet you'll see them fighting for her one day. They will protect her from everyone who wants to hurt her. She doesn't have to worry about anything while she is with them. I'm sure of it.